Welcome back to the Ancestral Findings Podcast. Scottish naming patterns of the past few centuries can provide excellent clues as to the names of parents, grandparents, and even great-grandparents of your Scottish ancestors. If you have a brick wall Scottish ancestor, their name or the names of their children can be an enlightening guide past the wall. Here is the most common Scottish naming pattern of ancient times, as well as common ancient Scottish nicknames and name spelling variations to look for in your genealogy work. Irish naming patterns are an excellent way for people to trace their Irish family lines farther back in the absence of records. It is the same way with Scottish genealogy. There are traditional ways of naming children in Scotland that can be used to help you determine the parents and even grandparents of your ancestors. This is especially helpful when you are researching an area, or ancestor that does not have a lot of official records associated with it. While not all Scottish families followed this naming pattern, or did not follow it exactly, this guide to traditional Scottish naming patterns should give you some clues as to those elusive names beyond the family brick wall, and provide you with ideas on other places to look for these ancestors. The traditional Scottish naming patterns goes like this. The first son, named after the paternal grandfather. The second son, named after the maternal grandfather. The third son, named after the father. The fourth son, named after the father's father's father. The fifth son, named after the mother's father's father. The sixth son, named after the father's mother's father. The 7th to 10th sons, named after the father's 4 great-grandfathers. The 11th to 14th sons, named after the mother's 4 great-grandfathers. The first daughter, named after the maternal grandmother. The second daughter, named after the paternal grandmother. The third daughter, named after the mother. The fourth daughter was named after the father's father's mother. The fifth daughter, named after the mother's mother's mother. The sixth daughter, named after the father's mother's mother. The 7th through 10th daughters, named after the mother's 4 great-grandmothers. The 11th through 14th granddaughters, named after the father's 4 great-grandmothers. Occasionally, a child in a family died, and when this happened, some parents named the next born child of the same gender the same name that had been given to the deceased child. This was to ensure the family names were moved on to the next generation. Also, if the naming pattern indicated more than one child in a family should be given the same first name, because a lot of Scottish men and women of the olden days were named Alexander and Mary, the children after the first child, who was given a certain name, were given 2 first names at their christening, in order to distinguish them from one another. Also, do not forget about nicknames when researching. The use of nicknames was quite common in Scotland for many centuries, and the same types of nicknames tended to be used for the same given names. Sometimes the nicknames were used on official records, rather than the given names. There are a lot of different nicknames used in Old Scottish culture that are worth exploring in your genealogy, but a few of the most common ones were Kate or Katie for Catherine or Catherine with a K, Ginty or Jenny for Janet, Gussie for Angus, Charlie for Charles or Charlotte. One more thing to look for when researching your ancient Scottish ancestor names is spelling variations. Some Scottish names had one or several spelling variations before spelling became standardized in the early to mid-1800s. These are some of the most common spelling variations in Scottish first names. Alexander, Alec, Eck, Sandy, Sander, Xander. Anne or Anne with an E or Anna. Could be Annis, Anag, Anella, Annis, Annis with a Y. Andrew will be Andro. Elizabeth, Elspeth. George, Dodd. James, Hamish. Jane could be Jean, Janet, Jessie. John could be Ian. Catherine with a K could be Katrina, Catriona, Ceatid. Mary could be May or Morag. Thanks for listening to the Ancestral Findings podcast. Check out ancestralfindings.com for additional free genealogy resources and weekly giveaways. Happy searching!